Okay, I believe we are live. So hello everyone and welcome to Team Phoenix. Got a very special guest with us today, as I'm sure all of you know. So we have, and my mind's gone completely blank, Danielle from Wicked Truths and F-Bombs. So hello Danielle, thank you very much for joining us.
Hey there. Hey everyone.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you. It's starting to get a little bit cabin feverish, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It's rough. It's rough, but thankfully most of us are healthy and we got to count our blessings and all of this craziness.
I think we're on about week 5 now. I don't know whether it's the same for you guys. I think we probably maybe started week before you, I think, over here with the lockdown situation.
Okay. Yeah, our lockdown situation, I want to say it started March 13th or March 14th. So we're heading into about 7 weeks now. It's been a wild ride.
Yeah,
Just between trying to adjust and all the schools are closed here. So it's been interesting for sure. It's been a learning curve.
and if you've got family at home, you've got children home.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. That whole homeschool thing, my hat's off to teachers because they do a lot. I trying to do it at home is it's hard and it's hard on a lot of us that we're not teachers. So
absolutely.
it's
Yeah,
hard to get your children to even concentrate on school at home because they're at home. It's not a school environment. So
no, didn't all sign
hopefully
up.
we will all come out of this stronger and learning something from it.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. Everything happens for a reason, right? So, like you say, I'm sure we'll all come out of it stronger and better people, hopefully, at the
Yeah.
at the end of it. So obviously, what brought you here? Obviously, you've been doing some excellent work on Gannon's case. So thanks again for letting us use those pictures that come out recently. Do
No
you want to just
problem. And
say a
thank
little bit
you.
about your channel and what brought you to the sort of case, Gannon's case? What brought you to, cover that and focus on that?
So Gannon's case, we covered it from the beginning. Actually, one of my admins on my team lives by Gannon, and Gannon loved her puppy. Her puppy would run down to Gannon's house for Gannon to give the puppy treats, and so it became very personal for us, knowing that one of our admin team members, was her little buddy, even though they weren't, they were just friends through her dog, but she definitely has an emotional attachment to Gannon in this case. And she also was involved in military searches, so we've been following this case since the news broke that Gannon was missing. And the initial news that broke was that he was an endanger, or he was a runaway.
Hmm.
So we've been following it since the very start, and it's been it's been a hard case to cover. It's been very emotional, very emotional.
Yeah, I think Gannon really represented a child that maybe a lot of people would feel that maybe that could be their stepson or their stepdaughter. People that have children that may be out with a step parent and what have you. I think that's a lot of it as well. And obviously a child being involved.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think,
Absolutely. And I have an 11-year-old myself. So looking at my son and knowing that Gannon, you know, there's a lot of similarities there with the video games and just being an 11-year-old boy. And, then I had my son asking me, have they found Gannon yet? And he was praying for Gannon. And I think a lot of us across the world, not just the US, across the world, are just drawn because we're parents, and because I like to believe that most of us are good people, and we love children. And when a child goes missing and you can just see it from the beginning that something isn't right, and you don't have answers, and there's this little boy out there who's only 11 years old when this all went down, and you just think, like, how can an 11-year-old run away? Where would he even go? I When you're a parent of a child that age and you know the mindset of an 11-year-old, it just doesn't, it didn't sit right from the beginning.
No, no, it didn't make sense, did it? And as it kind of went on and unraveled, and of course, Letecia was
Right.
quite vocal herself on social media, and things just started like just didn't add up, did they? It became
Oh, they
pretty
did
clear.
not at
No,
all.
no, and it became clear something wasn't right. Obviously, the way it ended was absolutely, tragic. No one thought or would it would end like that. For him to end up so far away as well, I still can't get my head around that. The fact that he ended up, 1,800
Yeah.
miles away. Um,
Right.
just insane. But yeah, death of a child it's always so hard hitting, isn't it? Uh,
It is.
Above any other cases, really, I find. Okay, so then obviously you've uncovered quite a lot on your channel, haven't you? And you've got a quite an active Facebook group as well, and what have you, full of web sleuths, a bit like us, I suppose. And you've uncovered quite a lot, really, with those sort of pictures that came into your hands. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I thought we could perhaps just go over those and a couple of things, obviously, that you've discovered, really. I mean, everyone's probably had a chance now to look at them. Um, One of the main ones being the candle picture. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to bring that up um,
Okay.
on screen so everybody can see it, hopefully. And if you just want to sort of go over what you discovered with regards to the lampstand, really, that we can now see in the picture.
Yeah, actually, it was kind of random that we discovered this. I had pulled photos from, I had the real estate listing from L&T Stauch's home in South Carolina. That home sold in January of 2019, which is the same month that they moved into the Colorado house. So we were discussing it and looking at pictures in our private admin chat, and one of our admins at the time was like, wait a second, look at that lampstand. And then we started piecing it together, and we were like, wow, that's because we couldn't figure out when we discussed this a couple days prior to this side by side that we did. We had thought maybe this was a support beam in the basement, and we were incorrect about that. I I had suggested it because a lot of basements here have support beams, and when basements are finished, they're sometimes encased in like wooden beams for aesthetic features to make the living area that's redone look better. And so then we went back and we looked at the pictures of the basement, and of course, there's no support beams, so we were wrong about that.
Hmm.
And then we just kind of pieced it all together. And you can, if you zoom in on that picture, I don't know if you're able to,
Yeah,
you can look up by the couch where the lampstand is, like right next to the couch, and you can see the designs on the side of it.
yeah, I can see because what I was comparing was obviously the foot of the lampstand, which we can see on the left-hand side.
Yes.
And you can see
Yes.
the kind of well, it's the trunks of trees, isn't it? You can see the one, two, three, which you can also
Yes.
see on the quite clearly on the right hand side. What also surprised me as well was that kind of gave that picture a little bit more scale because you can see the size of that lampstand. It's quite a large
Mm-hmm.
lampstand, right?
It
Um,
is.
I think we've got I think there's another picture actually which which gives it a bit of a better scale. You can kind of see the size of that lampstand. That's quite a thick lampstand, right?
It, it is. And then when you look at the stain, because what we did is we flipped the picture. Um, yeah, there it is. It's a decent sized lampstand. It's and it looks pretty sturdy and heavy. That is quite a solid piece of wood there, and it's not small. So the candle picture, when it came to us, it was we originally released it flipped the other way around, and then I flipped it to what you see in this picture. And when you compare the size of that stain to the size of the lampstand, that stain is large. That is a large amount of whatever we're seeing there on the floor, on the carpet.
Yeah, and it doesn't look. I mean, we a lot of people have obviously discussed it and speculated about it, but it doesn't look consistent with wax to me. Um, I don't know if anyone has anyone in your group done any testing with spilling wax or anything like that on carpet to see what it
Uh,
would come out like.
we have, and so that candle appears to be white wax, and if white wax were to be spilled on the carpet, it would not be black. We're still looking into some things. There were some links and information I actually still have to look into about how the oils used within the wax for scents to give the wax the scent that it has can be ignitable. You're able, that the actual oil that is used inside the wax may ignite. But if anybody knows anything about candles, when you knock a candle over, I don't have the statistics in front of me. I've knocked candles over a few times in my life, and every time I've knocked it over, it's went out.
Hmm.
So the wet wax actually extinguishes the flame, and you're left with a mess. Is what it is, a mess of wax. I've had, even raising boys. I've had one of my boys bump into one of my end tables and knock a candle over, and I've had wax all over my wall that I had to scrape off and clean off. So it's just my speculation and my personal input. I don't believe there was a fire. There's nothing about it mentioned in the affidavit either.
No, I
I
was
could
going to
be
say,
I could be wrong, but that's just my personal take on it.
yeah, I saw no mention. The only, that was brought up, I think, by T, wasn't it? Didn't she text Al or somebody saying
Yes,
about smoke
there were
and
te- th- there were texts sent, and that's still up for debate on whether the text was sent from Harley to T's Apple Watch, or if it's a text that T sent to Al, and it said something to the extent of "Don't panic." Gannon turned on a candle in the basement and caused a fire. He's okay. He's upset. I don't have it in front of me, but that's the gist of it.
yeah,
And then I believe it was on one of her interviews she gave. I don't know. I don't have it right in front of me. She made the statement that the fire happened. It was dark. She threw blankets on it. And she actually said she stepped on the fire too. She made the statement that Gannon cut his foot on the broken part of the candle. You can see that the candle's not doesn't appear to be broken in that picture.
no,
And you can see that um, I think I had spoken to you about this, about the alarm system. So they have ADT, they had an alarm system, and we discussed this in our admin chat as well. So my alarm system, I don't have ADT, I have something very comparable, and I went with them because it was a little cheaper. That's why I did it. It was actually recommended to me by a former ADT technician. I have smoke alarms in my house that were installed by my alarm company. And if I burn something in the oven and my smoke alarms go off in my house, my alarm system smoke alarm goes off as well. It yells fire. My alarm panel goes off, and my alarm company calls me. And we
Hmm.
don't see any mention of that either within the affidavit.
No, no, there's no mention of burnt blankets. Um, Stepping on a fire to put it out doesn't make any sense to me either. You wouldn't put your foot into it, would you?
Right,
Cutting yourself on the
right,
candle
right.
doesn't make sense either, does it? And I've people have mentioned to me about obviously you can get two-tone candles, and obviously I've looked at those. They all seem to be quite the colours where they separate. They were quite uniform. The only thing I see about that candle, it just kind of
Mm-hmm.
looks like it's been splashed on the candle, doesn't it? You know, the bottom, the brown bit of the.
It
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 doesn't look
does,
natural.
and the candle is actually facing the opposite direction of the largest part of the stain.
Yeah,
So that's interesting. And another thing is in the text messages that we saw about the candle incident, the fire. Tisha specifically said that Gannon was fine, and then she later went on in a recorded phone call with Al and said, without being prompted and without Al asking her anything, she said that Gannon picked the burn that he had from the fire and wiped blood on his wall. So she contradicts herself because in the text messages, she says he's fine. She goes, I don't know how many weeks without ever mentioning that Gannon had a burn. And then all of a sudden, she's saying that Gannon picked the burn and wiped blood on his wall when she's not prompted about anything in regards to blood being on the wall.
that's right. Yeah,
And if anybody knows anything about burns, so when you burn yourself, there's not usually blood. Your skin will blister. Your skin will blister, it will peel, and your body, in order for it to produce blood, you have to be in a healing process. That burn has to be scabbed over and healing. And there's no that process within the body of healing and scabbing would not have happened that quick between Sunday night to Monday to where Gannon had formed a scab on his arm that he could pick and wipe blood on the wall. That
right.
just, it's just, she just places blame on Gannon everywhere. And it's very, very upsetting.
It is. Yeah, it's infuriating, isn't it? Because especially the picture of Gannon in the bed, which she mysteriously took. Well, I mean, why she took that photo, I've no idea. But it's
Right,
infuriating that he was clearly struggling because 2 hours later he was struggling to get into the truck, wasn't he? We saw even the neighbour mentioned that he looked possibly drugged, almost as if he was drugged. He was clearly struggling. So why
right.
isn't she helping him? Why isn't she ringing 911? Why isn't she taking him to see somebody? That's what it's infuriating, isn't it? She's covering
Oh,
herself
it is.
more than caring
It
about Gannon.
is. It is. There were so many chances for her to walk away and not hurt this child, let alone kill him. Um, and I think that is one of the most upsetting parts.
Absolutely.
She
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, she went out of her way to extinguish this little boy's life, and that is absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, that's why she's one of the most hated women in America at the moment, right? Um, yeah, and that's it's just the way that she tried to cover it up, the way that she lied, and thankfully, to be honest, thankfully she did start to talk and blab on social media because she dug herself a lot of holes, didn't she, with a lot of the stuff that she said.
She absolutely did. She absolutely did.
Do you think law enforcement intentionally let her do that? Just let her carry on talking and making up lie after lie. She was tripping herself
I,
up,
d-
wasn't
I
she?
yeah, I do. I do. I think that they gave her the rope to hang herself. You
Mm,
know, she told, when you tell one lie, you have to keep telling lies. And what we heard from her over the period of, what was it, 6 weeks until she was arrested,
hmm
was just a bunch of nonsense that didn't make sense when you put it all together.
That's right. It was almost like it was like played out, wasn't it? It was kind of like the case was sort of starting to be discussed on social media. People would pick up on things, and then before you knew it, she had
Yes.
come out with a kind of story to cover what people were talking about and discussing. Like people
Right.
like at the end of the video clip, one of the clips where you can hear Gannon allegedly, it's not for sure, but saying, I am bleeding. And it was not long after that, a day or so, that she came out with the story about Gannon cutting his foot and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the way it went, wasn't it? All the way through. It's like she was trying to cover her tracks
Yes.
all the way through,
Yes.
all the way through.
Absolutely. She had a story to cover up everything. You know, blood on the wall. Gannon wiped his arm on there. Blood on the back of her Tiguan while Gannon cut his foot in the garage on Saturday and she bandaged it. So she was trying to explain away blood everywhere. One of her statements that she made online actually was that anybody who has children has blood in their house. I was like, I don't.
No,
I can think of probably 100 other people or more that, you know, don't have blood in their house because they have children.
that's
Sorry,
correct.
it's not normal to have blood on your walls
No,
and in multiple places of your home.
no, not at all. Obviously, she knew that. Well, I mean, she obviously did her best to try and clean it up, didn't she? But she wasn't
She
clever enough.
tried, but
She tried. She certainly did. Okay, another thing I wanted to go over was obviously, recently you came up with a very good idea to flip that video that she
mm-hmm.
brought out, right? Which is a very simple idea,
Yeah,
isn't it? That no one has thought of.
yeah. We had posted that video a couple months ago, and I know another channel has a little bit longer version of it. That wasn't the version that we got. We rolled with whatever version we had. And so we posted it a couple months ago, and that was another thing that was discussed in our admin chat. Like, does anybody have the capability of flipping this? I was like, I can do that. Why didn't we think of this before? And once you flip it, you get a whole new perspective of the location in that house and what was going on and where T started and where she ended up at. It's interesting for sure.
Yeah. So what I thought I'd do, I thought I'd play that. What, what also you found out through playing that, wasn't it, or flipping it, was kind of the location of where in the house the video starts. She's talking to Lena in the bed.
Right,
People weren't really exactly sure where that was located, where she started off, and where she apparently walked to see Gannon. But by flipping the
right.
video, it's kind of made it a bit more apparent, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
So I'll tell you what I'll do. We've got the main level floor diagram here. So if I bring this up, we can just quickly go over this before we play the video, just so it gives people a sense of perspective, I guess, on what
Sure.
what we are talking about. I actually have one that I've marked, so let me bring that one up. So hopefully you can see this okay on the screen. Um, so from what we can gather, um, when the video starts, she's talking to Lena in the bed, and we believe that's in the master bedroom, right? This is on the main floor, first floor. They've got two floors, haven't they? The main floor and the basement floor. Um,
Correct.
and you believe this is in the master bedroom, right? So in the top left of that image,
Yes. You
that's
can
where
you
we believe she starts.
yeah, you can see from the video when she walks out of the room that she's in and how she walks. that she was in the master bedroom and that Lena was in her bed. And when I flipped the video, you could tell that the bed that Lena was in was at least a queen size bed. So, which makes sense for a master bedroom.
hmm And then as she comes out of that room, I've marked it with an arrow on there. So she's walking towards well, she's going through what it says on here, great room, the kind of living area, isn't she? The TV's on the wall. And she's going towards
Yes.
the kitchen area. It's got like an island kitchen, isn't it? So you've got like
Yes.
a work surface top. And hopefully you can see on there, I'll put a blue dot, which is, you can actually see on the video, that blue dot represents a drink. You can actually see a drinks carton with a straw in it, which is placed on
Mm-hmm.
top of the kitchen work surface.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now the big question is, now you're quite strongly believe that she didn't take the stairs, okay, down to the basement, but she
Yes, I do know.
actually, you don't think that. You think she turned right and headed towards the guest bathroom. Is that correct? Or bathroom two?
Correct. The video's not long enough for her to take the stairs. Those stairs, actually, there's a flight of stairs and there's a landing, and then you go down more stairs before you get to the basement. And then she would have to get through the basement into wherever Gannon was. The video's not long enough for that. And then you can actually see where those stairs are right there. In order for us to see her path, she had to go past those stairs. And there's also no movement. If somebody's walking up and down stairs in the recording, you're gonna, even if it's black, even if you've blacked out the screen, you're still gonna see the screen kind of going up and down with the movement of going up and down stairs. We don't see that. The video itself, you can see it's clear as day that she walks past their living room or their great room area and their kitchen area, and she turns and she goes into that hallway where you see bath 2 and bedroom 2, and you can actually see that in the real estate photos of the house of how it's set up. There's a little area right there and just a slight hallway, and there's a bedroom and a bathroom there. That bedroom 2 was Lena's bedroom, and Lena was not in her bedroom. So,
Yeah, so you're talking about this hallway here, aren't you? Down towards presumably the front door, isn't it? Presumably
right,
the
towards
entry.
the, yeah.
Yeah, and like you say, I don't think as she kind of comes into, I'll play the video in a second. We'll point all this out, but yeah, as she comes in towards the kitchen and turns, she almost instantly starts talking to Gannon, doesn't she? And I don't think she would have enough
She does.
time to go down the stairs, and there would be a delay, I think, in before she started talking to Gannon, if that was the case. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right. Yes.
Okay, so if I play the video and then we can stop it and whatever and do whatever we want to do with it, really. Um,
Okay.
so I've got two versions. I've got a short one which is a bit smaller, which is the kind of original one, and then one that I've just made full screen and I've just brightened it up a bit just to point out a couple of
Okay.
things. So if we go with the first one first, and I might just pause it as we start just to point out those things that I've said about as well. Just go back to the start.
Well, devastating. Initially, Scott, I can't lie when.
No, I'm just going to pause it there a second. So that is what I was pointing out on my image. That's the work surface, isn't it, in the kitchen? That's the kitchen top
Yes.
area. Yeah. So I'm just going to go back a bit. So I'm just going to play it again just so people can get a bit of a perspective of where they are.
Well, devastating. Initially, Scott, I can't lie when the TMZ information.
Gannon, I promise this is the last time I'm going to ask you. I'm just freaked out, okay? Are you sure you didn't do it on purpose?
He did it.
Okay, you promise.
He
You promise.
on purpose.
Pinky promise.
Pinky.
Okay, all right. So listen. We're all right. We're gonna have to sell stuff to fix it. Okay. So we figure out what we got to sell. We can sell the sofa. We can sell whatever, because we got to get it fixed. So, lady, don't be mad at us and kick us out of the house. Okay? You got it?
So I know that's probably quite triggering for some, isn't it, hearing that video? Um, it gets worse every time I hear it. It irritates me even more. Just her voice.
Yeah, thankfully I can't hear it, thankfully.
Oh, you
So
can't hear that?
when what I can't hear it. If I had my phone turned up, I could, but I choose to not listen to it because it disgusts me.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's saying about, for the last time, I'm going to ask you, and how many times has she gone on at the poor kid about this?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's just unreal, isn't it? So what I've got here is um, something that I picked up. It's just a couple of things actually, because at the start of that video, um, there's almost a few seconds before it starts to play. I don't know if you can see there, but there's a couple of images before it starts to play. Now, I don't know if these are of any relevance, but it's just a couple of things that I noticed from those first few seconds. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, I did notice there was just something on the floor in Lena's room. I don't know what it is. It just looks like, I don't know, like a kind of brown stick or pointed thing. I don't really know. It's almost in one of the
Oh
first two
wow,
frames.
that's
Um,
interesting. That's a good catch. That's actually Al and Tisha's room, to my knowledge. Lena's in the bed, but I that's a good catch. I wonder what
yeah,
that is there on the floor.
yeah, that's about the best image that I could get.
It almost looks like something with a handle.
Hmm. But it almost looks like it's got a slight point to it as well.
It does. It
Uh,
does.
uh, but yeah, that was just one thing I noted. Um, so yeah, I've no idea. I haven't really looked further into what that is yet, but um, and I don't know if there's anything under the bed. Doesn't really look like it, but um, and the other thing, now I don't know if this is maybe a book or a card, but I don't know if you can see on the left-hand side whether it was maybe a book she was reading, or I don't know
I
whether that's
think
a
that
card.
it says Mr. and Mrs. I think that would be a decorative sign. That's what I think it is. Those are pretty popular here.
Ah, okay. Yeah,
Just
no.
like novel, yeah, like just different sayings on little wooden boxes, basically, and that looks like it says Mr. and Mrs. to me.
Yeah, now you've said that actually, I can see that. I could see the heart in the middle, and I could see it beginning with M, but I didn't know whether it was maybe a book she was reading. But now you've said that, that makes perfect sense actually. Now the other thing I noted, and the reason that I've noted this, it seems to be some kind of razor that Lena's lying on, like some kind of riser or to raise her head.
It's
Now,
like a pillow wedge or something, and I think I said in our last live that we did, the first photos that we released and we did a live on them, there was something under Gannon's blankets.
hmm
And we had speculated, because we didn't know what it was, that it was possibly a suitcase. And I think now, when we look back at that photo, that it's possibly a pillow wedge that we're seeing under his blankets.
yeah, so this is what we're talking about here, right?
Right,
The
right.
kind of
That's
rate.
more consistent with a pillow wedge than it is a suitcase.
Hmm. I've heard reasons for that is to possibly help with blood circulation around the body because it helps to pump blood back up from your feet.
Right.
Now, whether that is a possibility, because obviously we know now that he was likely bleeding at that point, right? So could that be a possibility that she's done that for that reason?
I think that would be a fair speculation. Of course, we don't know if it's
No.
true, but I think from what we've pieced together just with, what we don't know what happened that night. Clearly something happened on Sunday night. Something happened. And then the fact that she even took this photo and where she would have had to have been at in the bedroom to take this photo was actually standing near Gannon's walk-in closet, which is another abnormal thing. If you're going to snap a photo of a child, why do you go over to the end of their bed by their walk-in closet to take a photo like this? I've taken many pictures of my kids and I've never taken one like this.
No.
I'll take a picture of my boys' faces when they're sleeping or something, if they look just cute or something laying in bed. But this picture is very odd to me. And then when you piece that together with the neighbor, Roderick Drayton, saying that Gannon seemed not well when he got into the truck and he looked like he had been drugged. That's the neighbor's statements, not mine. Something's going on.
Yeah.
Something's going on.
For sure. For sure. Something happened that Sunday night. We don't know, like you say. This is only speculation, unless we're stating from the affidavit, it's all speculation. But something definitely
Right.
happened that night.
Right.
And that's, I think, what everybody is trying to piece together, right? That's what everyone's trying to find out right now, isn't it?
Right.
Okay, so those, that was three sort of main things that I pointed out. Now I just want to go back to that video because, like I say, basically we're just trying to figure out exactly where she went or where Gannon would have been when she was or on that video. So
Okay.
as I stated earlier, so we know that she's come out of the master bedroom and she's headed through the sort of living area and she's then took a right. Now she says she's either gone down the stairs or she's gone, which you believe, down the kind of porchway, if you like. And so do you believe Gannon was in the actual bathroom then, or the bedroom at the front?
Yes, that's what I believe. That's what makes the most sense when you look at the video.
Okay. So just to get point of reference for people, so the area we're talking about is, these are from estate agents. I think we call them, I don't know what we call them over there, but we call them estate agents. These are from the photos of the property when it was up for sale or rent. And let me get a better picture actually. So the area we're talking about is she would have been coming from the right hand side of this picture,
Correct.
walking towards the kitchen top here.
Right.
That's correct, isn't it? And then she would have taken a right, either down the stairs or down the porch. But you believe that, and I actually agree because I think it would have took her too long to walk down the stairs to start talking to Gannon
Right.
before she did, right?
Right.
So what I did just to try and assist myself in trying to fathom out which one that was, I just brightened up the video a bit and I can actually just sort of play it frame by frame. So if I just play it so you can see
Live
which.
when the TMZ information.
Gannon.
Okay, so it's kind of that bit there, isn't it, where she turns around.
She goes past the stairs.
Do you think she intentionally recorded this?
Absolutely, I do.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And it's interesting that she records it. There's video, there's picture until she gets to Gannon.
Yeah, he's in a dark room, isn't he? There's no light or anything. You
Right.
can't see anything, can
Right.
you, at the end of the video?
You can't. You can't. And for her to be in this position right there, and then when you go to the next frame where you can see the photo of
Yeah, I was going to
Al,
show that.
of Al,
So yeah, so she's turned here.
yeah.
And that does look like the top of a door, doesn't it? That does look like the top of the door, which is
Yes.
next to the kitchen.
Right.
If I just quickly flip back. So we think what we're looking at here is, so the drink's on here on the surface. I think we're probably looking at this bit up here, right? That's what I
Right.
was trying to work out. Yeah,
Right. And for that to be in the video, she has to go past those stairs, not down them.
past the stairs. That's true actually, because if
She
you had it in
can't she can't be in that area and catch that shot in the video without going down that hallway, because if she was going down the stairs, it wouldn't have showed up on the video like that. You can tell she's walking on a flat surface. She's not going down stairs.
yeah, and her phone's quite low down, isn't it? It's probably in a pocket area, isn't it? I would imagine. Because look at how low
Yes.
it's shooting up at the drink there, so it's going to be low. Okay, so she's turned, she's gone down. Now, this is something that I know you said some people in your Facebook group were speculating about as well, and it popped out to me all of a sudden when I was playing it, frame by frame.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, you see this picture here, don't you? Which is a picture of Al, by the look of it, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Quite clearly, you can see the American flag. So I guess that's on the wall then.
Yes.
So that's got to be. I think
I
I've got.
don't know that it's on the wall. I think it's above the doorway. There was like it might be on the wall, but
Yeah.
it looks like it's sitting in the little alcove above the door.
So you think it could be? Can you see my pointer? I don't know if you can.
Yeah,
You think
if
it's
you
in
go
this
above
area
that
here?
door, yeah, somewhere over there,
Yeah,
somewhere over
yeah,
there. And there's a little opening above that door, uh, above the
yeah.
door frame. There's like yeah,
Like a recess, isn't there, in
yes,
the wall?
yes. It's almost like as soon as she turned, I mean, it could have been hanging on the wall. It could have been. I might be wrong, but it's almost like she turned and turned her phone up, and it caught Al's picture.
Yeah.
Because if you look at Al's picture again, it looks like it's sitting on something.
Let's go back. Yeah, there's almost like a recess there as well, isn't there? It's weird.
It's recessed. Yeah, see, it's like
Yeah.
recessed in an alcove. So I don't know.
And then you
I don't know
see
what that is.
the
It's
picture.
interesting.
Because when I first looked at that, it was quite dark, and it did to me look like a picture of Gannon. But as I brightened it, it became clear that it was Al.
Yes.
But yeah, I think you're right. It must be down that porch, the hallway somewhere, mustn't it?
Oh, wait, that might be like a bookshelf she had in the hallway. Maybe that was some sort of bookshelf there.
Yeah, could be, couldn't it?
That's what it looks like. Some sort of bookshelf or stand or something there that she had in the hallway.
Yeah. But that's kind of the last useful image that you get from that video, because then it just becomes too dark, doesn't it?
Right.
But you also do get a slight sort of sound pitch change, so it's almost like she's gone from wooded floor into carpeted floor. So
Correct.
yeah, it's very strange. It's difficult to make that out, isn't it? But it's amazing what you can pick up from just a single piece of video, isn't it? And by flipping it like you
Yes.
did, that's where you found out most of that stuff, isn't it?
Yes.
Is there anything else that you found on that video, or?
I think that's what we've found so far. We're going to keep looking at it because I'm sure there's more things that we can probably pick out of that video. I'd like to identify what that cup is. I'm curious if that is a Burger King cup because of the Burger King story. It was said that when they returned from Garden of the Gods, Harley went and got Burger King for them. And that's interesting that that's not listed in the affidavit. So it could mean nothing. It could mean something. I don't know. But
Yeah.
you see Sleeping Beauty said she sees a leg on the couch. That's interesting. I don't see that, but
on the couch.
I'd have to look again because you really, really have to examine this video. And you've done a great job, by the way. You've done a great job, Chris, on going through this video frame by frame.
Yeah, I think sometimes that. Sometimes that's obviously the best way, isn't it? Because it was such a poor. Trouble is, it was quite a poor quality video as well, isn't it? I don't know how she's
Yes.
managed to do it intentionally and make it so kind of hard to see anything, if you know what I mean. Because she obviously, maybe she just wanted to catch the audio on the video.
Yes. I think that was her intentions, was to catch the audio, and she wasn't worried about anything she caught in video format until she got to Gannon and it goes black.
Yeah, he's definitely in a darkened room, isn't it? And I've turned the brightness up and everything. You can't make out anything at all when she's talking to Gannon. Unfortunately, you just can't.
Right.
It's way too dark. It's just blurred images. But yeah, that's interesting. That that's kind of where the children were and where she went really, because it's not really anything we've given much thought to, was it, before?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. You have to wonder if he was in that guest bathroom and why. Another thing that bothers me is why Gannon was up so late, because you can tell in this video that Lena, it appears that she was awoken, that she was asleep. So you have to wonder why Gannon was even awake for any of this to happen, because they had school the next morning. There's been no talk of Gannon being sick on Sunday. They had went hiking, everything was fine. He ate Burger King. And then all of a sudden something happens and Gannon's awake at 11 o'clock at night when he should be in bed for school the next day.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And she said about him going to the doctors, didn't she? She was gonna take him to the doctors, which obviously she never did.
Yeah, and when you look at her search history on her phone for that night, that woman didn't sleep.
No, she didn't, did
If
she?
she if she did, it was very little. It appears that she was up all night that night
She was. And for a few nights after that as well. What did you
as
think of
well.
her?
Yeah.
What did you think of her Google searches? I've mentioned it a few times. It was almost like a diary. It was almost like she was writing a diary, and she was kind of asking Google questions and expecting
Yes.
it to come up with answers. It was
Yes.
almost like it was very kind of immature and childlike almost, the way that she searched and what have you. What do you make of her searches?
Um, I think her searches are disgusting. I think it paints a portrait of her mindset and what she was thinking. You know, just the different searches, like find a man without kids, find a man with money, find. She wasn't happy with her lifestyle. Her searches clearly reflect that she was not happy with her lifestyle. And unfortunately, I believe that Gannon paid the ultimate price for that. And that's very sad to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of just walking away, she could have walked away.
Hmm.
I'll never understand it. I'm sure we will learn a lot more. An important thing to remember is that the arrest affidavit that we have only goes up to February 28th,
That's
and then
right.
it's done. We don't know anything that has happened since February 28th up until today, which is May 2nd, correct? Sorry. I don't even know the day or time. Yes, May
Yeah,
2nd.
May 2nd.
So, this is still being investigated. There's still stuff being uncovered. There's still search warrants. I don't know if there's any active search warrants still going on, but we know on March 2nd, when they arrested her, they said they had 107 search warrants to that point. So you have to imagine that they've gotten more search warrants since then. There's been other evidence uncovered since then. And we're going to learn a lot in the discovery of this case, a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think there will be things that probably make us all just take a deep breath and say, wow, because I truly think it's going to be some unbelievable stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If the affidavit was anything to go by, like you say, that was before they'd even found Gannon, wasn't it? That was put together, and it's
Yeah, that was actually, so Gannon was found on March 17th in Pace, Florida. His autopsy was conducted on March 18th, and it was released to the public on March 19th that he had been found and an autopsy had been conducted and he had been identified. So, they went from February 28th to March 17th, and then he was found.
yeah. Of course, that's something they've still got to piece together, isn't it? How he ended up in
Yes.
Pensacola. I mean, it blows my mind that when Spencer Wilson did the interview with her, when you think about things now, um, was Gannon with her then? Ready to go, sort of, if you know what I mean.
Yes, yeah. And you even think back to, so much of this is intentional. She reported Gannon as a runaway. And when you report somebody as a runaway, that doesn't take precedence over reporting a missing child. The way she reported him bought her some time, because if she had called in and said, I can't find my 11-year-old stepchild, I don't know where he is, something's wrong, law enforcement would have arrived immediately or very shortly after her call. Because she reported him as a runaway, they didn't arrive for over 3 hours later.
That's right.
And God only knows what she was doing in that time. She knew what she was doing, and this is only my opinion, but knowing how those types of reports work within the United States, I truly believe she knew when she reported him as a runaway that they would not rush to her house.
I agree.
There was no rush there, and she knew that, and it was diabolical and calculated. And I think what's even more upsetting is that when those law enforcement officers came into that house on January 27th, a little after 10 p.m.,
Hmm.
Gannon was either in that house or he was in a vehicle or in the garage or something.
Hmm. Yeah. That's unbelievable to think, isn't it? It's
It
frightening.
is.
It's awful to think. And I know that they, I think it was Roderick's wife, or Roderick as well, spoke to, I think it was Court TV again, talking about his footage, saying he had good audio
Mm-hmm.
on there. And he was saying that, they went to see T to see how she was doing, and she was just like fine, as if she was just sort of having a barbecue or something. A barbecue, she was just kind of not bothered. Relax, we've seen it before, haven't we, with other people. Chris Watts, just nonchalant and kind of,
Yeah,
oh yeah, what's going on? And yeah, I've lost my train of thought there, but yeah, she was just clearly nonchalant. Oh, that was it. Someone sort of reached out to me who lived in the area, and they were saying that she had people out looking in the cold. 'Cause it was snowing, I think, at the time, out in the cold and the dark, looking in ditches and all around. And she was not really helping. She wasn't really participating in any of
right.
it. Red
She,
flags all around,
she
right?
wasn't. Right. Right. She lied all over the place. She's a waste. She's a waste. That's all. I have no other words than she's a waste. I can't imagine being the parents of Gannon and knowing that a woman that you trusted, I mean, even Landon said that she trusted Tisha with Gannon, and the amount of betrayal and just absolute gut wrenching heartache that this woman has caused to people who trusted her. Gannon trusted her. Lena trusted her. Al trusted her. Landon trusted her. Her own daughter trusted her. It's disgusting.
Yeah, whole family, everybody. She lied to everybody, didn't she? She's lied to
She
everybody
did.
to try and get herself out of
She
it.
did.
Whatever's happened,
Yep.
she's tried to get out of
Yep.
it. Now someone keeps saying that, or they can see legs on the couch and they just wanted to go back. I'm just going to do it just while they're mentioning it.
Oh, okay,
Um,
go ahead.
I couldn't, but I'm open to being proved wrong. So let me see if I can bring up chat as well. Um, no, I couldn't. The only couch I know is the one in the living room. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah. So if we take it frame by frame, it's difficult to make out. I can't. Who was it in chat that said they could see a pair of legs on the sofa?
Oh, I don't remember the name, and I apologize to your sub for not remembering the name. I think I can see what they're talking about there. And
Maybe that they're talking about, is it?
no, if you go to the like right in there, there's something on the sofa. I kind of wonder if that's a blanket or a dog, because I know they had dogs. I don't know what size dogs they had. Um, could that be the dog laying on the couch?
Yeah, possibly, couldn't it? It's very difficult to make out. Of course, we don't know exactly what time this was filmed either, do we?
We kind of do. We
Oh,
kind of
okay.
do, because you can hear the news in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And they're talking about Kobe Bryant on TMZ. And when you compare that with the text messages that were sent, we know this had to happen around 11 p.m. or later. If I had to guess, I'd say 11:15, 11:20, because I don't believe the news would open, the local news wouldn't open with a segment of Kobe Bryant and TMZ. That's probably something later in their broadcast, but it would have to be 11 p.m. or later. So
Ah,
between 11 and 11:30 p.m., I'd say.
okay, that's interesting then. Yeah. Like you say, what was he doing up that late? If he's not feeling well and what have you, why is he up that late? You know?
Right. And there was no mention of Gannon not feeling well until Monday. I think from everything that we've heard, Sunday was an okay day.
Yeah.
They went hiking at Garden of the Gods, they got Burger King, and then all of a sudden he wasn't feeling good and couldn't go to school on Monday. So something happened.
Mm,
Something happened.
definitely. I think a lot of people kind of figured that quite early on, didn't they? That this all started on that Sunday night. This wasn't something that just happened on the Monday morning. Something definitely started on that Sunday and spilled over till the morning.
Right.
And I think that's just what we're all trying to figure out, isn't it? That's what we're all trying to work
Right.
out. And it's going to be interesting what lies and tales. You can imagine that she's sitting in jail now, probably
Mm-hmm.
coming up with 10 different scenarios, right, for how
Well,
this goes.
she's already given how many different stories? She gave 4 different stories to the law enforcement. And I can't even count how many different things she said on Facebook, because she was very active on Facebook. She was running her mouth all over the place. And I can only imagine. I can only imagine the things that she said. Somebody had said that local news in Colorado Springs is at 10 p.m. We actually looked up, Amy's down in the chat, we looked up the news broadcasts. And Amy, I believe we came up, there was 11 p.m. broadcast, correct? Because the texts were sent, I can't remember the exact time, I want to say 10:54 or 10:56 p.m. Amanda's down in the chat as well. She might remember the exact time and when the texts were sent. So we know that this had to happen sometime around 11 p.m. based on those texts.
Yeah.
It's dark. It's dark out. Lena's sleeping. It appears Lena's woken up.
I wonder why she woke Lena, or if she intentionally woke Lena.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, because that's kind of where it starts, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Could she have been laying with Lena? Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, that's possible. That's possible.
Because Lena's in her bed, isn't she? Presumably in the master
Yes.
bedroom.
Yes. Yes.
I presume that's just something they do normally, isn't it? A lot of kids do. So, so that news clip then, this bit here, you reckon that was?
Well, devastating. Initially, Scott, I can't lie when.
That's TMZ News, is it?
Yeah, I'll actually look at the exact time of the text. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Let me just pull it up.
I'm just going to see if I can see anything on the couch.
Just a second. I can actually drop it to you in Zoom as well. Let's see. 10:54 p.m. I'll drop this to you. I don't know if you're able to share it if I drop it to you, but
should be able to.
let me.
So is this when she texted Al?
Yes. Or some people say that she texted Al, and I think there's another side of that this is possibly Harley texting Tisha. Because the pictures are taken of a text that came into an Apple Watch.
Right, okay.
And I don't have an Apple Watch. I did. My understanding, the last I knew on Apple Watches, you couldn't type that much into them. Maybe you can speak into them now. I just sent them to you, but you can see them.
Okay, I'll see if I can pick them up.
Sunday, January 26th at 10:54 p.m. It says, "Do panic," but I believe it was supposed to say, "Don't panic." Don't panic, but Gannon turned on a candle downstairs and set the downstairs, and then it's cut off.
Okay.
And then there's another text that says, "He is fine. He is scared and saying sorry and freaking out."
And that's at 10:54, around about that time.
Right.
Which would match up with that TMZ News article.
Yes,
footage.
yes.
Yeah.
Amy and I have tried doing that. That's something we've been looking at, actually, pulling up archives of the news footage that evening.
That'd be really interesting to know, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I'll tell you another point, actually, is quite interesting. Someone's brought up in chat. What do you make of those? Because to me, everything she's done has been for a reason, right? Everything she's released and put out on social media has been for a reason, either to put shade on Landon or Al, right, which she seems to like doing. Is to cover her own arse for whatever reason. So what do you make of the bath salts text that she released out on Facebook?
That's one that puzzles me. Was she trying to paint a story of Gannon being poisoned, and so she brings up bath salts. I don't know. It's an interesting, those texts are interesting to me. Something I'd like to definitely explore more and see the psychology behind that, because I feel like everything T said or says, unfortunately, there's a method to her madness. She's calculated. She says things for a reason. She texts things for a reason. She records things for a reason. So, assuming that she sent the bath salt text for a reason, what was the reason she sent it?
The bath salts, yeah, exactly. What is the reason? Was she going to use that as an excuse, maybe? Because I mean, the obvious link, right, is that bath salts are used for people that are constipated, I believe, um, to help loosen stools and that kind of thing. Of course, it was
Mm-hmm.
mentioned. I can't remember who mentioned it, whether it was T or but that Gannon had. Oh, well, we know obviously he had stomach issues, right?
Yes.
So is she throwing that in there as some kind of excuse that maybe he might have ingested some because he thought it was going to help him, or that's what I'm thinking. Either allegedly, this is just obviously theory, but did she give him something to help relieve his stomach problems,
That's
or
possible.
or is
It's
she using it as an
possible.
excuse? Yeah, is she using it as an excuse to say, oh look, and maybe took these or something like that? That's what I think behind it. There's definitely, like you say, there's a reason behind everything she's done so far.
Yes,
So
there is.
there's a reason why she's put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
100%. There's a reason behind that. I hope that'll all become evident at some point.
Yes. Yeah, hopefully we have some answers. Somebody had said up above, let me find the comment, and I think they made a very, very good point. Oh, I just have to find it. It was Glam Dolly. It said the truth will end her. Affidavit is not accurate and incomplete as it was so long ago. I agree with you. And she hopes Ellie and Prose have nailed accurate account of what happened to Gannon. I do believe that the affidavit, so when law enforcement puts affidavits out, they put the minimum amount of information in there that they want to release in order to secure an arrest affidavit, because by securing the arrest affidavit they're essentially releasing evidence, and they want to keep that as much evidence as they can as close to their vest. So there's a lot in that. I still believe there's a lot in that affidavit that we don't know.
Hmm.
There's a lot that has been excluded from that affidavit. They included what needed to be included in that affidavit for probable cause to arrest her. And there's so much more to this than what we realize.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. I mean, it does kind of make sense what they've put because there was obviously no traces of blood or anything found in Al's truck.
Right.
So for anything to have happened before they left that morning, you would have thought there would have been traces in Al's truck, right? So that's why I think they've obviously kind of put, and they believe, you know, it happened. It was later on when she got back. But then, of course, there are still people that say, well, I don't think he did come back. There's still
Mm-hmm.
a very grey area, isn't there? A lot of people still don't think. A lot of people were sticking with Roderick. Roderick's sort of adamantly saying she came home on her own. He actually said that he heard her get out and he heard her lock the truck.
Mm-hmm.
Um, almost within a couple of seconds, presumably. So,
Right.
like you say, I think there's a lot that we probably don't know, and we don't know whether they got any more footage, do we? Any more surveillance footage? Because I've heard a lot of properties around there do have cameras, or at least Ring doorbell cameras.
Right.
So you would
Right.
think there is another shot from somewhere.
I'm sure they have it. I'm sure they have it. And, law enforcement said that they believe that Gannon returned home with Letecia, and they left it at that. They don't go into detail and say that Gannon is seen walking in the home with her. There's also, I believe, something in the affidavit about there being other security footage, or we know there's other security footage. We don't know what she did. I mean, that's a gray area. It's a very gray area. And I don't understand why somebody would leave a house for 4 hours and then come back right before another child is getting home from school and bring Gannon into the house and kill him inside the house right before his little sister's getting home from school. That doesn't make sense to me.
No, no, it doesn't. It doesn't make sense to
Not
me either.
There's something not adding up there. I don't know what it is. But something's not. We're missing part of the piece there.
Yeah.
I'm sure, I have strong faith that law enforcement and the FBI and every investigator involved in this case knows that answer. But it's something that leaves us all like, it doesn't really make sense.
I guess it kind of. I mean, they don't have to tell us everything at this point, do they? Of course, because it's still an ongoing
They don't.
investigation. They're not going to release
Right.
every single piece of information they know, are they? So it leaves us all doing this, really, doesn't it? Piecing it all together. But obviously, I just hope that they do manage to put it all together, certainly enough to make sure that full justice is done anyway. Which I'm sure they will.
Absolutely.
Because they've already said they've got a mountain of evidence against her, haven't they?
Yes. I have full faith that they will get as much justice as possible for Gannon. Justice is a hard word because at the end of the day, he can't be brought back. She still has her life. She's still living. And her actions cannot be undone. So it's hard to, will there ever be full justice? Probably not. I mean, as a parent, how do you get full justice for somebody murdering your child?
Yeah, you can't, can you? There never is. There's never going to be enough justice, is there?
Enough justice, right?
hmm Absolutely. Get what you're saying. She's due in court next month, is that right? June? I think they put it back a bit, didn't
She
they?
is.
She tried to play a bit of silly buggers, didn't she, with one of the processors or something. I saw she put in some motion for something. I don't know exactly what it was, but she was saying something about something wasn't done right, or
Oh yeah, she's trying to say, I don't know.
yeah.
She's just, I don't know. She's still giving interviews in jail to Crime Online, so
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
She cannot stop running her mouth. So
Proclaiming her innocence, believe it or not. She's saying that
Grace Nay.
the
I'm
affidavit
sorry.
is speculation. I think she's saying. Well, it's 90% speculation. That's what she said.
Yeah, she did say that. She did. Yeah. Grace Naomi said, could it be that he simply finished passing away on Monday and she had already cleaned the blood on Sunday, so she panicked and had to figure out more lies on how to hide the body, the suitcase. I think part of that could be possible. I don't know, but we know that she sent her daughter to get cleaning supplies for the carpet. Her daughter came and picked Lena up after Lena got off school and after Harley got off of work, and T sent Harley to, was it Dollar General or Family Dollar or something like that?
Yeah.
To get baking soda, vinegar, and I forget what else was on the list. I don't have it in front of me. So
Yeah, she did do that. They found the receipt, didn't they, for that? So it's obvious what she did. It's obvious she tried to clean it all up and cover it all up. Thankfully, she didn't do a very good job of it. So yeah, thank God for
No,
that.
she's horrible at trying to.
Yeah, and of course, what she did with the officer coming back from when she was being extradited back, attacking the officer.
Mm-hmm.
What did you make of that? Do you think she's just completely nuts, or
She
do you
has
think there's
yeah, she has no regard for anybody. None.
no one?
To the point that she attacked police officers transporting her across the country. I'm thankful they didn't put that woman on a plane. My gosh, could you imagine if she acted like that in the air on a plane flying back from South Carolina to Colorado?
They'd have a sedator, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
More
my
than likely
she's
on a plane. Yeah. Well, I guess
yeah,
we'll have to wait and
she's a piece
see.
of work.
Mm. But yeah, there's
Yes.
some interesting points really. I think we can all probably take a look at that video further and possibly be able to figure more stuff out. Like you said, it's surprising what you can find really out of
It
a short piece
is.
of
It's
video.
very surprising what you can find.
Mm. Certainly once you flip it, which is a very simple idea which she came up with. So kudos for that. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. Anyway, it's really much appreciated.
No problem. It's been my pleasure. It's great to talk to you, and you have a lot of good perspective, and you've done some great work here on the video and the photos, and it's given me some new insight. So I appreciate it.
That's okay. I think we're all just trying to piece it together, really, aren't we? What we've got, and
We are definitely.
hopefully we can bring some insight to people and hopefully make things a little bit clearer. But as I say, I do really appreciate you coming on. So thanks very much, and thanks again for letting us, use the images, what have you,
You're welcome.
and we've
You're
been putting the
welcome.
link to your channel throughout our chat. So if anyone's not familiar with your channel, Wicked
Oh,
Truth
thank
and F
you.
Bombs, yeah, I'm sure that everyone will go over and check you out and subscribe if they haven't already. So yeah, I'll
All
say thanks
right.
again.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. It's been a good chat. It's good to see everybody down in your chat. They're so nice.
Yeah, we're a pretty laid back group, pretty nice group here. Very clever group
That's
as
the
well.
best way to be.
Yeah, can't get
Best
anything
way to
past
be.
them.
All
Okay,
right. It was great talking to you.
yeah, you too. Thanks again, Danielle.
Yep. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, bye then.
Bye. Bye.
Ah, there we go. Lovely Danielle there from Wicked Truths and F-Bombs. If you haven't already checked out their channel, then please do. We've put the link in the description box as we in the chat as we've been going through. So yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it, when you start looking at stuff? You can get some real sort of insight into how things went down. That was just a simple idea that Danielle came up with, flipping the video round that she leaked out, and then suddenly you get a different perspective on everything. So I think that's what we all want, isn't it? Really, just to piece it together and just get full justice for Gannon. Make sure full justice is done for Gannon. That's the main aim for everybody at the moment. So I appreciate you guys all being here. If you want to hit the like button on your way out, that'd be much appreciated. Or hit the dislike button. Don't really care. It brings what puts it in the algorithms of YouTube, shall we say. Thanks for being so good in chat. It's always nice to see you guys. You're always so well behaved. But I know that Kimberly and Firefly and True Help are always looking after you, so I appreciate those guys as well. So yeah, put some blue hearts for Gannon on your way out. That'd be much appreciated. And hopefully we can we'll continue looking into this further and see what else we can unearth. It's a crazy, crazy story the way the whole thing's unfolded. It's thanks to T, she's really put her foot in it every time she's opened her mouth. and she's given people more and more to go on. So thank God for that. Right, well, enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. So it's much appreciated you being here, and I'm sure we'll be going live again sometime soon. And I promise next time I go live, I'll give everyone a shout out. The new members a shout out. We've had a few new members and a new Patreon, so I will be giving those a shout out on the next live for sure. So I appreciate that, and thank you for those that have joined. So thanks again, guys. Have a great weekend, or rest of your